Hey Little Pros, it's Randa from Little Pro Education Group, and I'm here with another story time. For those of you who don't know, story time is when I give you a story from my experience in education in order to highlight an important theme or situation. So today's story is mainly regarding parents who want to leave the schools of the inner city and have their kids attend the suburban schools in order to escape some of the negativities within the inner city itself, and sometimes the failing of the schools in the inner city, hoping that your kid is going to be able to thrive in the outskirt schools. And I'm a parent, I'm a grandparent, I get it. I know my kids actually went, I actually moved from an urban city because of the distance between my job and home to a suburban town in which I taught. And although the education on paper can be better, the numbers of students scoring higher on standardized tests and going to college and the graduation rate could be better. There could be a lot of things statistically better. Does not mean that that school is necessarily good for your kid. Case in point, I was working for a suburban school district where the minority percentage was a decent number. So like, let's say blacks were like 25%, Latinos at that point was like 5%, and then the Native American was like 1% or less, and the rest were designated as white students. And this is a school system that during segregation was a white school. And then when desegregation happened, I was told by a teacher who was actually my department head that he remembers the day that happened, and that there was a lot of teachers who asked the black students just to sit in the back of the classroom, don't say anything, and I'll give you a C. Okay, so those people had certain perceptions of black people and wanted to avoid those kids participating in class and just wanted them in the back, and they'll go ahead and give them their grade. And so this person was always very liberal, very cool. A lot of students picked up on it and really liked him. And you know, of course, according to him, he did not do that in his classroom. All kids were to be educated and participants. And so when you think about the older teachers who remember, or the current teachers, middle-aged teachers who were students at the time or soon after integration, and how they remember how school was, and now with the passing of time, schools are very different. And guess who they blame for those changes? Us. They blame us. Because along with that time being passed, you had desegregation. And I have seen and heard teachers speak negatively of the new populations, even when they're not calling out the new populations. I remember when this school was... Okay, like whatever, get with the times. So this is the school district in which I worked for, and the school district was always in the newspaper for racial strife. This is in the early 2000s and the 1990s and 80s. Always in the newspaper. I mean, controversy, student walkouts, the mayor getting involved. I mean, just a whole lot of mess. And that's right before I got there. And so when I went there, of course, I want kids and families to feel as though that they're supported and that their students are welcome and have a chance, and, you know, not to be embroiled in controversy unnecessarily. Life is going to give you plenty of opportunities to be involved in controversy. Your kids should be safe in school and be able to learn in that learning environment and not to be thinking about controversies. And so my first year there, a parent came to parent-teacher conference night. Hey, Keisha's mom. And she said, you know, this school really needs a Black history course. And I'm like, okay. And then the district actually wanted to diversify their elective and their course offerings. And so they wanted teachers to submit proposals for new courses. So based upon that and things just gelling, see how God works? I started an African American Studies course. And it was the most popular course in school history in terms of student sign up. And we did co-curricular programming. And so this was like really a course that was before its time in terms of any academic course. There were courses on the campus where students engaged in co-curricular activities. For instance, DECA, you learn the book information in terms of marketing, but then students actually do marketing projects that have, you know, actual real impact and output, and they actually learn hands-on about the concepts that they learn in theory. But that's not an academic course. That's an elective. And so social studies is an academic course, even if a student is taking it as an elective. For instance, at this school and in Connecticut, you needed so many credits in social studies, and they have the classes that you had to take. You had to take U.S. history. You had to take a world perspective class or a government class or whatever the issue may be. And then the other ones were that you had to take were the ones that you can choose. And so my course was designed from kids 9 through 12. It was a mixed group, mixed ability, mixed grades, like everything. And we were the first academic course to have co-curricular activities. Now, in terms of accreditation, that was a category in which the oversight committee and the accreditation organization actually looked for when they came in. The school was not prepared for that. But guess who they used as a highlight to meet that satisfaction? My course. There was an assistant principal who didn't even know the difference between extracurricular and co-curricular. Extracurricular means those are activities that a student does in addition to his or her coursework. Co-curricular means that the activities coincides with the theoretical, the information that they learn in class. So, my history class had co-curricular activities where every student had to participate. We put together seminars with professionals in attendance. We put together a community event where people came and saw a show and had dinner, and the kids put together the theme, put together the tickets, sold the tickets, did the marketing, had press packages. I mean, and this is 3 separate classes coming together, never physically until just days before the event, but all separately, and putting on this show within a month and a half time. And this was, we basically had like 100% participation, but it was like 95% or more had a full dress change. So everyone in the class had a costume change and was in the show. The rest of the kids who weren't were behind stage, because you needed people to work behind stage. And then we had a dinner for over 500 people. and it was a cultural dinner, and it was so good. And then we turned the calf into a really nice restaurant. It was just like so well done. The kids, they walked and they talked differently. We also did a Kwanzaa celebration within the school. So we did a lot of co-curricular things, and we had to implement the ideas that we learned in the course. So in our show, we had a lot of higher level creative ideas. Every single skit that was done had to lend itself towards the theme. And of course, the kids chose the theme of the night. And so people would come to the show and they would be in awe. Like, you know, they thought they were just coming to a talent show for their little nephew, their little niece, or my neighbor drugged me out. And, you know, and you think you're just there to see your child, but then they were blown away with the level of creativity and their performance. I mean, it was just a spectacular night. Like, this course made history in this school. And so and we had this event and these events multiple times over multiple years. And so this particular year, the principal, who was mostly supportive because he knew the value, he knew that the students had better performance academically as well as socially because of this course throughout the school. But he also had to listen to the naysayers, the ones that did not want this to happen. So he was off campus because he was at some type of workshop or seminar that year on that particular day. And so there was supposed to be an assistant principal on campus. People come to these schools with their own issues, and they put these issues on your kids. And a lot of us are not wanted in these schools. So we do not get the education in which the parents are actually seeking. And I actually had in middle school and high school send my kids to the inner city schools through the magnet school choice program so that they can be safe. Unbelievable. So you have to really look at the entire picture when you are choosing the most effective schools for your kids. And let's say your kid is a wonderful student, and no matter what school your student attends, they are going to do well and excel. But guess what? They're watching all this foolery around them happen to people that look like them. What are they learning? Like, you know what I mean? What are they learning in terms of how you treat and act people in larger societies? A lot of these schools are reinforcing societal norms that are anti-us. And so we really have to consider that as parents. All right, so that's it for my story time today. I hope you guys enjoy and you guys can make effective decisions based upon it. And I'm out. Randa from Little Pearl. See you later.